Greetings, it is I, Herbert Erpaderp.
Oh shit, it's Herbert! Hide!
It's too late. I know you're there. Anyway, it's time for Ask a Herbert Erpaderp, and so there's a couple of questions that need answers. And answers I do have.
Are they good answers?
I don't know, and that was never a promise anyway. Okay, first up, Hetzer's Gonna Hetzer said, have you had issues with parts snapping in half just by you cutting them off their sprue/runner/tree? On the odd occasion I have had things like thin rods and things like shovels or axe handles break while either I'm cleaning them up or removing them from the sprue. This is why I often comment about it while I'm streaming, and I do try to be very careful with anything that's thin and looks like it even has half a chance of breaking with any force applied to it. Sometimes it really doesn't take that much force to break a thing. I guess it's the price we pay for having things with fine detail. So I guess I have had issues with that, but it's not like a huge persistent issue, if that makes sense. It doesn't happen all that much, but it's still worth being careful anyway. Nobody wants broken bits.
Hi, my name's Nobody and I want broken bits!
You're not funny, Herbert. Hetzer's Gonna Hetz also said, which aircraft interest you? I mostly like World War II era stuff. I think planes like the Lightning are really interesting, and of course, who doesn't appreciate a good Spitfire? I've also been thinking about doing an airliner in an Iron Maiden scheme. Probably the 757. I don't know what kits or decal sets are available at the moment for that. I haven't really looked into it, so I don't know which 757 I'll do. I think there was a couple for different tours, but I could also do the 747 they used. It is just a thing I'm pondering at the moment, so don't hold your breath for any videos about that, but it is a fun idea, and I guess that's really more the band that I'm interested than the plane, so I guess to answer the question, I mostly like World War II era planes. Trekan Beluvic said, does the glue god like superglue, or is it a temptation? I think superglue is the evil, malicious glue, so it's kind of the opposite of the glue god in that sense, but I would hesitate to call it a temptation. I never feel tempted to use superglue, I use it because I have to. However, maybe I'm just exceptionally strong and hard to tempt. Maybe it is tempting for others, I wouldn't know. Hetzer's Gonna Hetz said, have you considered using a large-scale tank, for example Trumpeter's 1/16th scale King Tiger, to make a PC case out of? Imagine playing games on a PC shaped like a King Tiger. That would be really cool, and to be honest I've never really considered doing that before. That said, I do prefer my PCs to be a simple, nondescript box that's out of the way and not distracting, but a PC built into a tank would be quite awesome. I do have a 16th scale T-34-85, and I don't imagine a King Tiger would be that much bigger, but just looking at the T-34, I'm pretty sure that a 16th scale tank wouldn't quite be big enough to fit decent PC components into. Even a small motherboard would be kind of awkward to fit, and the graphics cards would almost certainly be way too big. Though it might work for like a micro PC or whatever that really small form factor is called. I'm not going to do it, but I would be really keen to see the results if somebody else does it. Spanish Boy said, did your parents force you to play sports, or did you want to as a child? That is, if you ever did play. I was never forced into, or even really encouraged to play any sports, and I was never really interested, but I guess we did play sports in physical education classes that we were required to do, so I guess that's kind of being forced into it by school. Probably not really a bad thing, but I never liked it, and as soon as it became an elective class, I dropped it like it was hot, as the youth say. I did occasionally play basketball and football, the rough tackling kind, with the ball shaped like an egg, and not soccer or American football, but that was just at lunchtime at school, so nothing serious, and we probably weren't especially picky about the rules. That was really more having fun with my friends than any enjoyment of the sports also. In the YouTube comment section of last month's Ask a Herbert Erpaderp, Andrew77 said, curious to know when you're painting the Canadian gun truck. I really love the kit. It is a very good kit. I don't have an actual plan for when I'm going to paint it, and I do have a small list of other things that I want to get painted first, so it'll be whenever those things are done. I think there was about 10 on the list at the start of the year. I probably will start on it sooner than later, maybe towards the end of the year, but it is the kind of model that's going to take a while to paint, I think. probably don't hold your breath for it, but it is one of the models that I really want to do, so it will get done. Yantima said, "What do you think of Rammstein's recent releases?" I haven't actually listened to them. I may actually have heard songs from them, though I don't recall if I actually have or not. So I don't know if I've actually heard anything new by them, but I do know that I haven't specifically listened to any new albums by them too. Maybe I should. Steve Stevenson said, "Don't you feel like a moron when you make mistakes and do your models wrong? No offense, but you're kind of a joke compared to other YT modelers." I'm never really sure why people bother saying
No offense
when saying this kind of thing. Fortunately, to offend me, I would have to value your opinion. I don't feel like a moron when I make mistakes. Not usually anyway, and I know that making a mistake doesn't make one a moron. Making mistakes is just something people do. Some people, of course, have a bit more trouble admitting when they do make them, but we all know that you can't trust somebody who says that they don't make mistakes. Mistakes are how things are learned, and there's always the possibility that when I make a mistake, I might learn something from it, but it could also help somebody else avoid that mistake. So no, I'm fine with it. And what's the worst thing to come out of an incorrectly glued bit of plastic? Some maladjusted ding-dong on the internet getting mad? As far as doing models wrong, if I'm doing my models how I want them and I'm enjoying myself, then I can't possibly be doing it wrong. I mean, somebody else might think it's wrong, but since when has that mattered? It's never mattered. I also don't really care if somebody thinks I'm a joke. I'm not really interested in being taken seriously by boring people who've got no room for fun and goofing around, or for whatever reason think they don't make mistakes or whatever. I'm sure most people doing modeling on YouTube are pretty cool, decent people who don't take themselves too seriously. It's just, I guess some of their audiences might be a bit unfortunate, to say it nicely. Anyway, I'll do my hobby and my videos and whatever else in my own way, complete with shitty jokes and goofing around, and I don't really care if that makes me a joke. I'm enjoying myself, and I'm sure there are plenty of serious business channels out there for you to watch. You don't have to watch me. Enough of that. Let us now have a look at some of the modelling work that's been shared over on the Discord community in the last month or so. Yantima has shared this panther. It looks like it's well prepared to do a whole lot of panthing, which obviously is what panthers do. Well, maybe it's not that prepared. It looks to me like the driver has left the tank. He may or may not be coming back. This model is a 35th scale early panther from Das Werk, and I think Yan has done a decent job with this. I can see improvement, and I rather like the camo scheme you've gone with. Keep it up. Trekan Belovic has shared this shooty man, and captioned it, "Alone in the Bocage." This American GI with grease gun
doesn't look like a mechanic.
Not that kind of grease gun. The figure is a 28mm scale plastic model from Warlord Games, which Trekan has just painted for a relaxing fun time, rather than for a particular wargaming force. And while I totally get just painting something for fun, it would be pretty cool to see an entire force of figures painted like this. Ratto shared this halfling gravedigger, who has recently found out that necromancers pay more for digging up corpses than what the church pays for burying them, so he both buries and digs them up to maximize profits. The figure is from Midlam Miniatures, and has obviously been painted very well by Ratto. I rather like his hat, it's a good hat. Mr. Kalibara shared this Japanese Ronin, I assume that's how it's pronounced, also known as a roaming samurai.
You say that as though you know what you're talking about.
Well, I do not. I do know, however, that this is a fantastically done model, and I'm rather impressed by it. I don't know the scale or manufacturer of the model, but Mr. Kalibara says that it's been done in a historical colour scheme. Awesome stuff. Der Fuxus, that's an interesting name. Der Fuxus has decided to introduce themselves by sharing one of their recently finished models. This is the Border Models Panzer IV-G late model, and it's in 1/35th scale. And it's a really well done model, I would say. In fact, I'm a little suspicious that you might have just posted pictures of a real tank and claimed that it was a model. Really good work, I'm looking forward to seeing more. Amateur Hobbyist said, "Sorry for the photo spam," and I wouldn't call this number of pictures spam, and even if it were, they are very certainly welcome. Anyway, as you can see, this is some sort of Star Wars walking motorcycle. I don't actually know what they call these, but it's awesome, and the model is very well done, and it's always nice to see some sci-fi stuff. And that's the models for this month, and indeed the entire Ask a Herbert Erpaderp. Just a short one this month, and I have no complaints with that. I've been very busy lately. As always, a big thank you to those of you who ask questions and share your modelling work. It's always an inspiration. And of course, I can't share everything that's on Discord, so if you do want to see everything, and take part in the discussions and maybe even share some of your own work, you'll just have to join the Discord. The link is in the description below. An extra big thank you to my patrons. I appreciate your support. Ask a Herbert Erpaderp will of course return next month, so get your questions in. In the meantime, feel free to come hang out next time I'm streaming. Barnaby and I have been doing a lot of very sensible farming sim lately. It's good times. Anyway, until then, take care of yourselves, and thanks for watching. Farewell.